everybody. If you can, I think my microphone should be working. I will wait just a few minutes until 4:30 and give everybody just some time. I know it was short notice, so we'll see if anybody pops on here. And my plan is to kind of go through from the parent survey and the student survey, just different questions that I saw come up. Give you an opportunity to ask questions in real time, and then we can hopefully come up with an answer, trying to figure this out as best as we can. And what works for some is not going to work for others. And I know that as a teacher that one method of teaching is not going to work for all students. So this choice board model might not work for all students. So how are you going to adapt it versus how can I assist you in adapting it? Those types of things. And as far as what's going on in the future, what kind of ideas we have going forward, just trying to get everybody on the same page and see kind of where everybody's at. So I'm going to mute myself for just a few more minutes, and we'll see if we get some more people on. If you get on and you're able to see the chat, please leave a comment so we know that you're here. What is going to be nice about this feature is if we can get it to work, it would be a good way for me to do live lessons with the students where they're able to just focus on me and respond via comments. So while Microsoft Teams is great because we can interact back and forth in videos and hopefully get that kind of rolling and things like that. Hopefully what would be ideal is that there are sometimes when students just want to talk over one another, or we're trying to find out ways to get, maybe some more direct instruction and things like that for some of our different groupings that we have, depending on how long this goes. So we are curious to see how this is going to go in the long term. Obviously, we as teachers are very upset. We miss our students, and they're what matters most to us. And so not having them in our presence is very difficult. So I am hoping that this will allow us to kind of have some feedback back and forth real quick. And I can answer your questions as best as I can. Those that I can't, I can take down in my notes, and then we can hopefully get answers either from Mr. Vance or from the grade level, that sort of thing. As a grade level, we're trying to communicate and collaborate more effectively grade level wise, so that way our content expectations are not so varied between classes. So we're working on pulling best practices and things like that and combining them together. So I'm gonna, like I said, for those of you just joining, hi Ayush, hi Kaden, I see Anna and Alex, Kimberly, Olivia, Victoria and Sarah, and I'm not sure, I did say parents, so if this is just parents, that's fine, that works out. I am pulling questions from both the parent survey and the student survey. Most of the questions were from the parents though, so I'll try to pull from there, and then feel free to leave a comment as more questions arise, that sort of thing. So I'm gonna give everybody just a couple of minutes to log on and see where we're at. I know I gave short notice, so. Okay, so we'll go ahead and I guess just get started. Um, and then if anybody joins in, we'll try to update them. I do believe that it saves a recording, and then we can go back and view the recording. This is my first live stream, and I am very uncomfortable. So jumping back and forth between the two is gonna be interesting. It's very weird seeing yourself full size on a screen and only seeing comments from people. So we'll see how this goes. And if you guys have any ideas for how we can utilize it with the kids, I'd love to do that. I'd also love to um, do some other things that go along with you guys as parents to kind of see what support you need and try to keep. I think maybe this would be a better format than the Google Forms, or we can do it all. I know it's overwhelming. I know we have a lot of things going on, so I just want to check in and see kind of what needs to be able to do. So I'm seeing a couple of questions pop in already. So do we have to do the geometry math menu if we are in the blue group? So no. So that's the one thing that's different this week is that we are sending differentiated choice boards for math only at the moment. So we have a 2.1, a 2.2, and a 3.1. So I use your in blue group, which is the 3.1, and I did make that one blue. So hopefully, hopefully you guys caught that. But so no, you only have to do the choice board activities that are for your particular group. If you see something in one of the other groups that you want to do, for example, I know that Chloe's mom had mentioned she wants to work on some multiplication. Well, if you look at the second choice board for 2.2, they're just starting multiplication. So there's some ideas and activities you can do there. I see Anna asking, is it possible that this will be the end of the school year like in Texas? We aren't given anything other than that the schools are closed until at least the 30th. From what I've seen on the news, the overall consensus is that we are having to consider a lot of different options. So whether this digital schooling is going to continue to take place or whether we're going to make any adjustments or any changes or things like that. As far as I know from Fulton County, we are just going along with what the governor is saying, which is just to continue to monitor this. This is new. This is unheard of for us, and we don't know what exactly it looks like. I wish I had more information on that. I really hope it's not the end of the year, though. I feel like we were really, really good group this year, and I already missed so many weeks in the beginning of this 2020, so I'm hoping that we get to go back. But they're going to do it what's best for the children and what's in their best interest, and that's going to be hopefully with everybody taking more precautions and lockdown seriously. Hopefully, we can start to see a trend in decreasing cases, but we really don't know. So anything that we do hear from will come directly from the district, and then that would also go directly to you, would be my guess. It's usually a blanket email, and then there will be further information to the teachers. The county prefers to give you that information. If anybody else has any other questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, and I'll try to kind of jump back and forth from there. A couple of questions that came up frequently in the survey yesterday was about the 5 choice board activities in each. So I am highlighting an activity in all of my 3 main subjects right now. So in reading and English language arts, in math on level 2.1, and in math 3.1 level as well. I'm highlighting an activity in those subjects and posting them to YouTube and then posting them into Seesaw as best as I can. And I'm highlighting a different activity and trying to give some background information. I'm trying to give you some additional resources for videos or things like that. The expectation is still that second graders are only completing 60 minutes of instruction daily. Obviously, how you want to interpret that, how you want to challenge that, that's going to be up to you guys. I'm trying to provide you at least that minimum and then a ton of extra resources to be used at your disposal. So what needs to be turned in each week, what needs to be completed each week. We stuck with the choice board format, but tried to continue with some of our instruction this week. And then next week, we want to continue that a little bit more. So the suggested pace in math is going to be how I'm going to conduct my videos, which would be how I would ideally teach it. to the students. It's obviously a little bit different because I'm not directly teaching them some videos and things like that. And I hope that they help give you, I kind of go back and forth between directing to the parents and then speeding up and then going back to the students and things like that. So obviously I'd love to do student individualized lessons or small group lessons and things like that. As time allows, I was able to get to the school and get a ton of books and things like that on different levels, but we're just kind of all taking this day by day and seeing what needs to be improved, what we can do to support you, that sort of thing. And then in terms of what to do with these choice board activities after they're completed, the ELA ones are designed to be more student choice based, where it's going to be self-selected texts, articles, things like that, kind of giving them a little bit more freedom in what they're going to do for their work. That usually is a good way to get them inspired and encouraged, is if they have a say in what they're writing. And I can say we were just getting into this writing groove right before this all happened, where they would moan and groan when I would say, all right, guys, it's time to go home. Writing time's over. And we weren't doing anything spectacular. We weren't doing any amazing project. We were just going through the writing process of brainstorming and editing and revising and just that passion, because it was student selected ideas. It was really neat to see. So they would say, well, can I edit this? Can I have a friend edit this? Can I do a spider leg, which is where we just add like an extra piece of paper on the end and fold it over. And so it was really neat to see how engaged they can get. And we want to continue to see that happening. So I would love to get some student lessons posted as well. Some of the feedback was that there was too much. So I'm trying to give you guys some time to adjust, and then maybe we can do some of these activities here on YouTube Live. And then that way, those that are still feeling overwhelmed or feeling like it's too much information, that would just be an extra thing, an extra resource. So the Fulton County choice boards, our choice boards that we've created this week, these are not our grades at the moment. We are still getting clarification on that. One of the options that has been suggested to us is to take grades through iReady. There is a way for us as teachers to assign particular lessons. So for this week, for example, we're doing the green group is working on geometry, so plane shapes, solid shapes. There's a lesson on that I can assign them with a quiz associated with it. They would be able to, it would open up in the same page, which I could show you a tutorial of that. And there would be a box that I think would say assignment instead. We've been told not to assign these all year long, but they're saying that it is a good tool to use for assessment because it's there's no bias in it. There's no, wiggle room. It's either the question was right or the question was wrong. And then it also gives us a good starting point to see where we need to go for the next week. So second grade has toyed around with that idea. Today we were talking about it. And then that way the lessons that they're completing, I believe, again, we were told not to do this all year, so I haven't played around with it at all. But what I believe would happen is that there would be a separate, like I said, when they log in, they click math or reading, and we would probably do some in reading as well, because I don't think iRead provides that feature. And then they would have two buttons, and then I believe one says activities or assignments or something, and then the other one says continue my lesson. So after they complete the lesson that I assign them, it would probably revert back to what they were working on previously. Again, I'm not certain on that, but I will. I know grades are a big concern. We are only taking grades in reading and math at the moment. That's all direction we've been given, and they would like us ideally to do one a week. So then that comes the question of if these choice board activities are not our grades, do we need to turn them in? Do we need to keep them? What do we need to do with them? And that's honestly up to you. I'm going to leave that up to you at this moment. As a team, we haven't decided on anything. I feel like this, unfortunately, is going a little bit more long-term than just looking at 2 weeks. So realizing however many weeks times 24 students with 10 activities of each, that's going to be a lot of paperwork. Some were turned in on Seesaw, some were not, some were in email. So my suggestion to you with the activities is post them to Seesaw. That way you as a family can decide whether you want to keep them, whether you want to get rid of them, whether you want to keep them in a folder or tuck them in a drawer somewhere or make a binder, a book, something out of them. But that way it's documented on Seesaw. You can show the work that you've done. You can send me an email if you're having trouble uploading on Seesaw. But I think that that's a good way to show the progress and get immediate feedback. I'm on Seesaw starting after my conference call with our grade level and our team, from 9 o'clock on until 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock at night at least. So I'm providing as much instant feedback as I can to continue that teaching. So if I notice that there's a mistake in one of their problems, trying to give them a solution to notice, or saying, hey, I disagree with you on 2 of these. Can you find which 2? Or, hey, you did a really great job reading fluently today. I loved how you paused when there was expression. So I'm able to give that feedback as needed. So the more you're able to provide on Seesaw, the more instant feedback I can give, because then I can see exactly where their struggles are and I can help you out with those specifics. Let's see, I have a couple other questions on here. A lot of kids asking, when are we going back to school? So as soon as I know, I will share that. And then hopefully we can keep up some class lessons through YouTube Live and then through our Seesaw streaming, or I'm sorry, not Seesaw, Microsoft Teams. Maybe we could do that. I would like to do the whole group one every Friday, and then hopefully find some way to schedule in some other ones. Like I posed a possible one for Wednesday, that it would just be a read aloud. So it'd be focused just on reading for that particular activity of the day. And it would just be something where we could kind of communicate a little bit normal. So I will send out a link to anybody who's interested in joining that Microsoft Teams. Let me know in the comments if you think that would be something you'd be interested in for your child. And I think I said 12 o'clock, but honestly, I'm very flexible with our hours. I have been doing reading in the morning, but I thought maybe after lunch would be good. So if there's something that you want to see with a read aloud and there's a specific time that works for you, great. Leave that comment. If you're open and flexible, let us know, or let me know that way. I want to answer, I saw Ayusha's comment, can you do more than 30 minutes on iReady? Yes, you can. Although that's all that's required is they would like for each student to try to keep up with 1 lesson a day. However, we know how difficult this quarter is going to be. And but I do have some students that love it and they really get into that challenge and that competition side of it, of how many minutes and how many lessons. And so Ayush, yes, you can definitely do more, but you don't have to. And then I see Olivia's mom said, yes, we'd be interested in the read aloud. So let me know if that 12 o'clock time works or if there's a better time. Like I said, I could host different things. All right. Yeah. Arv was funny. He was on, he was the very last one to leave that Microsoft Teams meeting. I ended it, or I thought I ended it. And then I saw live meeting and I clicked it and there were still 3 of them in there just having a good old time. So it's really great to, I think, have them be able to connect in as many ways as we can. Social distancing is really difficult, especially for our kids, because they don't understand really what's going on. So I'd love to continue that whole group on Fridays. If there's another time that works better, just shoot me an email. Otherwise, we'll stick with what we're doing and that. Thank you, Ansley, for that question. She asked, if this is the end of the year, are we going to be offered a chance to hold our child back? And if we find it in their best interest? So I don't know the specifics on that question. I know there was a question prompted by Andrea Yenrick, who helps run some of our meetings with our parents. And she said that that was a big question on their discussion list, was if this goes on until the summer, if this goes on until, even May, what does that mean for our year? What does that mean for our students that were on retention list? What does that mean for just students that we don't think are ready for 3rd grade because they've missed, half of a year of instruction? That is definitely a question that your voice is heard and it's being discussed and it's being considered, and everything is going to calm down once we get more information about this restriction, and hopefully, we're able to start seeing improvement and we can have those discussions. But we'll definitely, anybody who has those concerns, please know that we're listening to them, know that we hear them. And I think it would be something that would be a definitely one-on-one conversation that we'd have with admin. They'd have their ideas, your ideas, and just all of us working collectively together, because we've never been in this situation before. So hopefully we can. I see Ayush says, can we do the read aloud at 10 o'clock? That would go possibly. Yeah, if I hear any feedback, I'm getting, my one concern is that a lot of the feedback was that it's just so much information that's coming at us. So I'm trying really hard to limit how many emails I'm sending you guys, but perhaps I can send out a quick voting survey in some way to the class. That'll just be like a one button thing where you just say which time would work better for you, or no, we're not doing this for the read aloud. And then my goal would be to communicate with small groups and things like that, and hopefully work out a time that we could meet at least once a week to moving forward. So Ayush, I will let you know about the 10 o'clock time. Okay. I had a couple more questions. Do I need to log reading activity on a reading log calendar sheet like we used to? You can. That's awesome. I don't think you need to. I'm trusting you to read. I'm seeing students posting pictures of them reading. I'm seeing them posting along with the activities that I've been posting, sharing some of their stories with me, things like that. Reading is so important, and if you can find that love for it, it shouldn't feel like a chore. So hopefully you guys are able to find some books. You're using Epic, you're using those chapter books, things like that. There's tons of YouTube videos, books, and things like that. And reading doesn't just have to be sitting silently. It can be acting out a scene from your book, reading a recipe together, reading a menu, thinking about it in different ways than just sitting still reading a book. Like we read upside down, we read under the tables, we make forts. Having fun with reading is what it's all about. There were a lot of questions about the Living Museum, which just breaks my heart because that's one of my favorite activities. I actually brought that with me to Medlock Bridge from my other school because I loved it so much, and they worked so hard on it. And I know we were just nearing that ending point where they were ready to perform. I definitely want to see it continue in some capacity. My idea would be that even if we weren't allowed to have visitors, if we got school back up, we would take videos using our green screen, and they would still get to act out their characters and their speeches. If that is not a case that we can do, it's definitely still something that I want them to be able to contribute to. So maybe it's an activity down the line where it's record your speech. If you have your costume, wear your costume, share your video, and then I can combine them all together into a slideshow and we can share that with the class. But Living Museum is definitely something that is not forgotten about. I see here, I have a couple more. Adam kept up with his choice board work last week, and we kept his work in a folder. Should we submit it on Seesaw then for your feedback, or just keep it here unless we want feedback? So I would definitely say with that, that's up to you. If you want the feedback, if there's something that you saw they had trouble with, or there's something that they're really proud of, maybe it's choose your favorite and post that to Seesaw instead of going back through all 10 and posting all 10, because I know that can be a lot. Maybe it is just going to be, hey, Adam, go pick your favorite, or, hey, let me, as your parent, take a quick shot of this one so that they can get the feedback from that as well. If you are posting from your phone, you have to be careful that there's a parent app and then there's a student app. So if you are sending it as a parent, you can send it to me through the message, but you can't add it to their account. They have to be signed in as a student on either going through Launchpad or however you guys have been doing it in order for it to post on their account. However, for example, I had Sarah posted a picture of, they found a little turtle on their family walk and she wanted to share it with the whole class. So her mom sent it to me in a Seesaw message, and then I asked if she wanted it shared, and then we shared it with everybody. I was able to do that from my side of things. So if that's something that you want to see, please let me know on that as well. The last questions all involve Seesaw, so I kind of lumped them all together in terms of, so turning in work via Seesaw, which is what we just talked about, encouraging communication between each other. From what I've been realizing is what you guys are seeing from parents and from students on your platform is different than what we see in our classroom. And that's for privacy reasons. It's for many laws that Seesaw is trying to make sure to keep all of your data and your child's data private and secure in their services. Sorry, I totally blanked on what I was saying there. But basically, they're trying to protect your child and their identity because it is face and names and pictures and schools and things like that. So everything that you're seeing is strictly either from me or from your child, from the parent side of things. From what I just learned is that now the students at home are also only seeing that. So we're used to being able to collaborate and communicate with one another through Seesaw, leaving comments, and they're so sweet to one another, like, great job, and whoa, that's awesome, and things like that. So if you want it, or if your child wants something shared, if they want it with the whole class, have them leave a comment that says, can you please share with the whole class? I saw Ayush do that today. I actually have been going in and asking a couple kids to say, like, oh, wow, this looks really cool. Do you mind if I share this with everybody? Or do you mind if I share this with just a couple people? Or I believe Chloe this morning left a comment saying she wanted it for just 2 people and she wanted them to see. So that's a good way to keep the communication going between the students as well and share some ideas and work. So if there's something you and your learner are really proud of, leave that comment and I can know that you want me to share it with the rest of the class. And then the last big thing was Seesaw activities. It's overwhelming, it's too much. So I took that into account today and I really tried to only post one that went along with, because we had 2 skills in reading today. We did a quick review on compound words and fluency. And so I posted one for each of those just to kind of, whatever I'm talking about in my video that I'm sharing with you guys, I will also try to find an activity that lines up with that, because that was some feedback that I saw was that you guys liked the more traditional worksheet ones just to do a quick check to see if they understand the concept. So I'm trying to find ones that line up with that. And then in the additional resources document that I sent over last night, I tried to link a couple of different websites for worksheets and things like that as well. Good. So I see here, so Alex really enjoys the comments and the feedback. It helps him understand where he needs to go if he's having trouble, that sort of thing. So I really highly encourage you to use Seesaw as a tool to help continue the communication between teacher and student as much as possible. It just gives us a great opportunity to do that. Yes, I believe that Ms. Hall uploaded it last night, but we had the tab hidden last night. So previously, so it could be that that is not visible right now. So I'm going to put, let me write a note real quick to remind myself of that. And then I see, are you going to post 2 Seesaw activities every day? So yeah, I'm trying to, like I said, I posted it on Seesaw, the schedule kind, I don't know if I can get it to see. That kind of looks like that. I've been trying to follow that as best as I can, just for myself, to remind myself of what needs to be done for the day, to not go overboard with art activities and science and all these fun things that I want them to do. So I'm trying to stick to that schedule as much as possible. So ideally, there would be no more than 2 Seesaw activities daily. However, I found a couple Seesaw activities that were posted in there that were like creative, like the little cat and the dog that were having a conversation. That was just like a fun little silly activity. But I will try to make them line up with that schedule that I sent out to you guys of the day-by-day plan. So I have it open on my computer. I do not. Oh, here we go. So for tomorrow, for example, I'm going to be focusing on activity F in reading and writing, which is on how-to writing. So my Seesaw activity would go along with how-to writing, and we'll be doing something on quadrilaterals tomorrow. So my math activity would be something that goes in with quadrilaterals. And then Wednesdays would be characters. So I'd have something with characters. And then math would be tangrams. So I'd have an activity with tangrams. And those, again, are not required. So I see that Sydney loves doing the seesaw stuff because she feels like it's required. That's, again, where you guys have the power as parents to say what is going to be a requirement versus what is not. You are required 30 minutes of math instruction and reading instruction. And how you want that to look in your home is completely up to you. I'm here to provide resources. I'm here to provide support in whatever way I can, videos. I know that the older grades are doing like a day by day, first do this, and then follow this step. But we are following what the county gave us, which is a choice board format for second and younger. So I think it's pre-K through second. So that's why we've stuck with these formats rather than jumping into what third through fifth is, because third through fifth minutes are different than what ours are. I believe that they have 90 minutes of instruction a day, whereas we're only required 60 minutes. So we want to give you all these resources, but we know they can be a lot. So we're trying to figure out what works best as we continue to go through this. There's also some really fun ones happening that I see. Like there was Mo Willems was doing activity. We had another author who was doing a directed drawing. So if I find those and find the dates, those will be ones that I link in during that like creative break activity time on that schedule. But I don't want to overwhelm, but I also get, you get it depends on what your family looks like. A lot of you guys are figuring out how to work from home and having little ones and having, just the normal chaos of having a full family at home and doing your job and now trying to become a teacher. So there's a lot going on. So your schedule is not going to be the same as somebody who's been at home and is a stay-at-home with one child. That's going to look totally different. Or you might be able to have a break from 9 to 12 with your job. But so that's when I'm posting all this stuff, which is fantastic. But then maybe the next day you have a conference call at 10. So your schedule is going to have to change. So I try to keep that in mind. But I'm getting that mixed feedback of this is too much information. This is too much to do versus I would like more. So that's hopefully where with those additional resources that we provide, and we will get those linked on the website. If they're not showing up, I'll make sure that they're there. And the idea, we talked about it this morning, was to try to have a generic reading resource link, a generic math resource link for all the subjects, all the content areas, as well as a week by week activity sheet. So for example, we're doing geometry this week, so there's tons of resources on that. So if we're formatting is still an issue, but we're trying to figure that out as best as we can so that those of you that want those extra resources can have those, and those of you that don't, you don't necessarily need to have them. But it's up to you guys. If we do go ahead and use iReady for the lessons, then we'll go ahead and communicate that with you as well. So you know that those are where we're pulling our grades from. I know that's the biggest thing that we're working on, is making sure that that component is solid for you guys. All right, so I think that that's about all that I have on my, from what I gathered from the survey. If there's something else that I'm missing and you want to share it in the comments, please let me know. Feedback is always welcome. Suggestions are always welcome. If there's anything I think that this is a great tool, especially to continue using as new ideas are introduced, as new information comes up. I'm going to suggest that we do this again. I'm going to host another one later on this week to see maybe we could do it on a Thursday before the student Microsoft Teams idea, or anything that goes along with that. Maybe there's more information that I have that I can share with you. If not, maybe we could figure out, I'll send out again that like yes or no, or maybe just like a Google Forms of like what time of the day works best for everybody. And like I said, I do believe that this is recorded. So then if you're not able to join live, then it would be saved as a video that you could then access later. We didn't have access with logging into iRead, anything to go on instead. Yeah, if with the Flash player, a lot of people have had issues with iRead. If you are having trouble with that, you can use iReady Reading. So where they're going for their math for iReady, there's also a button for reading as well. We'd rather them doing some of the lessons than just not doing it at all. So that's once they finish iRead, it progresses them to iReady Reading, but it goes down as low as kindergarten. So there's applicable skills for sure using that app. All right. So if you don't have any other questions for me, I'll stay on for a few more minutes to see if anybody has any other questions or things like that that come up. And then I'll send an email that says optional Microsoft Teams meeting or optional what works best for you, and send out another survey. So if you're able to and you want your kids to join in on either one of these live lessons or go in through Microsoft Teams, we can do that. Just will help me to know when to schedule, sort of thing. Obviously, one time isn't going to work for everybody. So I will send out an optional survey just to kind of get some more ideas on track with that. And I'll try to send that out either tonight or tomorrow morning so we can see what time works best for a read aloud on Wednesday and then for the whole class meetup on Friday. So thanks for joining, guys.